Hello. In October last year, I decided to join YouTube. I set up a channel and I probably made my first video live around the end of this month. So this is effectively my first anniversary, and I thought I would do a video to talk about my channel in the first year. Now, unlike many YouTubers, I had a specific purpose for my channel that wasn't ongoing. It was something I could do in one or two stages. One of the things that I really wanted to do was to do a video sort of showing my research into early Gollancz paperbacks, primarily talking about the VGSF paperbacks, and I pulled one out just to show you. So there's the logo. So I was doing all the ones with this logo. It wasn't always on the cover, but there was always one on the spine. And during November, perhaps December, I did, I think, a total of 9 videos showing you all the Gollancz VGSF paperbacks. It was something I wanted to do because, as far as I'm aware, I'm the only person who has ever actually tried to collect the full set, and I wanted the information I'd sort of found on the way to be available for others who might be tempted in the future. Now, as I say, that was my first and main priority, and that was certainly completed by the end of the year. And I was in two minds whether to carry on. And so my next stage, pardon me, was to do a series of 64 what I call shorts, mostly 3 or 4 minutes. And a lot of them I did daily, some were a bit more spread out. And they were not as well watched as the VGSF paperbacks videos had been. So I was in two minds whether to carry on. But the other thing I wanted to do, it's information that people could find online but not easily. I wanted to do a series of videos about collecting Timescape books. And just to refresh your memory, there is a Timescape book, one of the 3 different logo types at the top of the front cover, and the 4th type didn't have a logo on the front cover, just had Timescape on the spine. So I did another 9 videos showing all the Timescape paperbacks, again putting that information into the public domain. And to be honest, that was it in terms of special collections. Most of the others are well documented. You can find the information on the ISFDB or other listings. So those Timescape videos I did in, I think, probably February or thereabouts. And in that sense, I'd achieved my initial aim, which was to put research I'd done that others might not find easily into the public domain. I would like to thank Jules Burt, because he hosted spreadsheets giving lists of all the VGSFs and at times, and another sheet giving all the Timescape paperbacks. And also, thanks to him, it did boost my numbers. So when I started, I probably picked up 20 or 30 on YouTube. But I think thanks to Jules, the numbers shot up towards the end of the year, reaching around 100, which it stayed fairly steady. And then since then it has been climbing slowly, and I'm now at 240 subscribers. Now, unlike some people, I never set out to be a big channel. I'd no wish to be an influencer. I'd no wish to particularly monetize my channel. My main hope was perhaps to sort of connect with a community that were interested in collecting books, and to a lesser extent the community that's interested in reading them, because often those who read will also put forward a bit of history about the publication or the author, and I do find that interesting. So I thought I would carry on, and as I carried on, the videos that seemed to be popular were book hauls. And I quite like doing the book haul videos. As I say, I'm a collector. I do go out hunting for books, and it's nice to take stock every 2 or 3 weeks, show what I've found. And as I say, these videos seem popular. I will just briefly return to what I said about the 2 areas that I collected. In terms of the sort of first video talking about the early Gollancz paperbacks, my plans to show all the VGSFs, I got a total of 247 views, which was quite a good total considering my subscribers were considerably less at that time. But as I showed the others, the numbers dropped off. And certainly when I did the videos about the timescapes, the numbers dropped off considerably, and I was getting double figures, but only just, perhaps 20 or 30 at a max. So in terms of number of views, it wasn't that successful, but the information is there. I have no plans to take down those videos, so they will be there hopefully forever. And if anyone specifically wants to hunt for something and puts in keywords, hopefully those videos will come up in a search. The shorts that I did, and I think I did 64. I think the average length was perhaps 3 minutes, maybe 4. And there I just showed individual books, or sometimes 2 or 3 that I thought were of interest. But those videos, again, only attracted low viewing numbers. So I think I've now covered the stats that people might be interested in that normally are talked about in these videos. So I'll just pause it briefly. Right. As I said, I sort of hope to connect with a community of like-minded individuals who like SF and fantasy. And that has been reasonably successful. I did also hope maybe that the videos might encourage people to get in touch about collecting, perhaps swapping books, or if anyone wanted to sell a nice collection, then I would have been interested to hear, but nothing much has happened along those lines. But there were other things that other people joined for which I wasn't interested in. I mean, I was never interested in trying to become a sort of a media superstar or anything like that. As I saw on one video, which I totally agree with in terms of myself, I'm never going to be a Brad Pitt or anything like that. And as the poll showed that Richard Rempel did at Vintage SF, I'm an introvert. I'm not going to be an entertainer. So I never expected my channel to really boom. And I must admit, when I look at YouTube, I get amazed by some people who've got, on BookTube, who've got 40 or 50,000 subscribers, sometimes getting 6 or even 7-figure viewing numbers for videos. I'd no wish to go down that route. So, in a sense, I'm happy with my relatively small numbers. I mean, another thing I wasn't interested in was editing and producing really good, technically sound videos. All my videos are done as single takes. Admittedly, I do occasionally pause the video because that's a feature on my phone, but I don't do any editing. I'm not really interested in delving into the world of apps and more complicated things. I do not have a laptop except my son's old one that I can use, which is quite old. He actually built his own computer, which he now has at university. So I'm not interested in that. And to be honest, I don't always get on with IT. Whenever there's a problem, I have to research it and hunt around to work out what to do to resolve it. So editing was not something I was interested in. Learning how to do very slick productions didn't come into it. So what am I going to do now? Well, in terms of the future, I'm happy enough carrying on doing my book haul videos. I do question whether it's worth the effort of producing other videos, and I'm not certain what really will interest people. So I've been a little bit reluctant to delve into other types of videos. I certainly am not interested in doing book reviews. It reminds me too much of school and English literature, talking about books. I've got my own specific likes in terms of styles of books, and I must admit I don't always agree with others. So rather than putting my view out there and perhaps getting criticism or anything else, I will largely avoid doing a book review. I may occasionally say whether I like or dislike a book, but I'm afraid book reviews are not something I wish to move on to. I've looked at 1 or 2 videos talking about why people leave BookTube. And indeed, I've thought about that on and off, because even doing the simple videos that I do, it does take a bit of time. And I do wonder whether it's worth it. I'm a bit of a transactional person. If you put effort in, do you get something out that has been worth your time? And I haven't really come to a total conclusion about YouTube, but I'm happy enough with what I'm doing at the moment. I may take the odd break. I'm not sure. I mean, at the moment, I haven't really had any external pressures that stop me devoting a little bit of time to this. On the other hand, if I did cut down a little bit, I could perhaps put a little bit more time into reading, or perhaps a little bit, or potentially an awful lot more work into tidying my book room. Because to be honest, when I do a book haul, I try and find a home to squeeze somewhere in. I've pretty much given up sorting. And to be honest, it makes it very much more difficult to find anything when I want to look for a particular book. So I really ought to devote more time to that. So while I plan to carry on, I'm not sure how much effort I'm going to put into it. So I think that's a summary of my first year and where I'm planning to go from now. I'm sure There are many other things that I could talk about that I've missed or just totally forgotten about, because basically I do all my videos as a single take, unscripted. So if you've got any questions or wish to comment, please leave a comment. And that is it. Thank you.